In this lecture on law and economics, Professor A.K. Enamel Haq explains why do people plead guilty in the court of law? Learn by using the game theory.
Second concept I want to touch upon today is the concept of game theory. Yeah,
Sir, I can explain.
Okay, explain the prisoner's dilemma. Okay, now you explain this to me.
For example, two persons were being arrested and kept in a prison, like they're like solitarily confined.
Okay.
It means that they cannot communicate with each other at any cost.
Yes.
So now they are in a situation that if one person lie and the other person tell the truth, in that case they will be announced for imprisonment of, suppose, for say 12 years.
Both of them are a suspect, right? If both of them lies, there is no evidence, so they get free.
Yes.
So they get free.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
If one of them tells the truth, he gets a reduced punishment. The other one gets full punishment. Whoever lied.
Yes, sir.
So remember, whoever lied gets full punishment. The truth person gets reduced punishment because he told the truth. Right? And if both tell the truth,
yes, sir,
they also get a punishment. Okay? So this is, and then the question is what they should do. That is the whole dilemma. Remember, the dilemma is basically means that what they should do. If that is the question we are looking into, and if we're saying that is what we're looking into, so if you look into this diagram now, what you see that the best strategy for them is to stay here. If both person lies, because if I look into this person B, if he lies, he gets 0. And the person A, if he tells the truth, there is a possibility of 12. And he doesn't know whether he's telling the truth. Similarly, if I look into that he's lying, he's either a possibility of 0 versus 12. So for him, 0 is a better choice. For telling the truth, the choice is 0 versus 3. So 0 is still a better choice. Agree or disagree? If you look into this comparison, 0 versus 3 and 0 versus 12 and 0 versus 10, you find out this is the best choice to lie. And this is true for both of them, which means in this particular case, both of them lies. Now the logic, and this is where game theory, everyone teaches game theory using this example, right? Doesn't matter where you study, in Bangladesh, in America, everywhere. I'm not against it, but I don't like it. Why I don't like it? First, it has nothing to do with economics. Agree or disagree? Where is economics? Here. Any economics here?
No. Sir, এটা যদি বিজনেসের সাথে কম্পেয়ার করি স্যার, এটা যদি স্যার কোন একটা কম্পিটিটিভ বিজনেসের সাথে কম্পেয়ার করি।
Right.
So here we can find the Nash equilibrium. The idea is basically derived in economics.
No, idea Nash equilibrium was derived in mathematics. So this is the biggest challenge that I always find. Okay, why do we? So where is economics in this particular game?
So given any options, both the players are trying to maximize their payoff.
Exactly. Maximize their payoff, but there is economics. So where is the efficiency of utilization of resources? So to me, it's a good economics only if you understand it. But the example here really does not give you economics. And the reason is because this is not economics. Example here will give you, say, look, this is not an example of this. Answer is there is a collusion between producer, and there is competition. So there is a competition, there is a collusion. So if I put a collusion versus I put a competition, there is a huge difference in human behavior. So we said, shall we go develop a market with competition, or shall we develop market with collusion? What is important for us to understand as a behavioral economist is that, look, it actually explains how human behavior changes. In other words, how do I design, and this is where law and economics makes more sense, that how do I design punishment so that people will say, look, I'm not going to do this. The more important idea for us is designing of the punishment. So if you think about the case of generator, now we talk about the generator case, and we said, okay, let's redesign this as a two-persons case, and let's design the person who is running the generator, person A, and let's design the person who's person B. And there is a two choice. One is you run generator, and this is no generator. What is this choice? What is her choice? B's choice, right? The choice is, suffer because of the noise or leave. So the first logic that you realize that actually these two dimensions which looks exactly same, they are no longer same. So you realize the behavior is not the way symmetric behavior you were thinking. It's not as symmetric as you were thinking, because it's not the behavior that you say, oh, this is the behavior is always truth and lie, and both have the same behavior. They have a completely different behavior. And when they have a completely different behavior, the question is, what happens? So if you run a generator, you suffer. And your suffering is, let's say B suffering, let's put a B on this side and A on this side. So if I put it, A's generator is he's gaining a satisfaction, and that is 100. B is losing because of, let's say, 50. But if he leaves the place, he loses 150. She loses 150. Generator person, he still gains 100. His satisfaction. If there is no generator, he loses satisfaction. So he gets minus 100. This person has a satisfaction which is 100. This is noise free. If there is no generator, he loses 100. And this person, if he leaves, she leaves 100, loses 150. So this is not, sorry, this is 150 minus. So now look into this game. What is the better case? And this is where economists will say, look, what actually important for game theory is to find another solution. What is the other solution? Maybe we can ask them to compensate each other. And if compensation provides them a better solution, maybe this will be a better solution. In other words, if we compensate together, if this is 50-50, in other words, you share the cost in such a way, this is 50-50, you can start looking into it. They said, okay, can I design a better policy so that they will go to this solution? And if this is a Nash equilibrium. So remember, the concept of Nash equilibrium will also come. So how do you, so the issue that we are looking at, that how do you create a good Nash equilibrium? Remember the difference between game theories, the way you have discussed, and the one we will talk about it. And we'll look into the class that can we design a better Nash equilibrium through which we can say, okay, this is going to happen if I come up with a better solution. And this better solution means, can you create laws and regulations? And if I create laws and regulation through which maybe everyone will leave these places and say we go to this place. In other words, this is their choice. What is a Nash equilibrium? Is a choice to be made. So the tool that we will use in this particular course, as we go future, you'll find out you need to revise little bit of a game theory. You don't have to worry much but you need to look into the game theory as a concept. And don't look in the game theory and those who have done it versus those who did not do it, really not a big difference. Why? Because it's not a prisoner's dilemma case. It's a case that can we reorganize everything into a game theory perspective. Remember, what does game theory do? Game theory gives you strategies. And this, if I look into this particular diagram, we had two strategies. In this diagram, we had two strategies. Sorry, this. So we had two strategies. Strategy one was lie and telling the truth. Strategy two was one is lie, one is a truth. Whereas when you design a new law, you actually create a new dimension. What is here? If you don't like any of them, can you find a strategy so that they will not use any of these? They will come back to the solution that I want. So remember one thing that is important for game theory. Each cell means this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. They are all equilibrium. All of them are equilibrium. If this is what they are playing. If both of them are lying, this is an equilibrium. If one lies, one tells the truth, this is the equilibrium. If this one tells the truth, this one lies, this is the equilibrium. If both tell the truth, this is the equilibrium. So in a way, these are all equilibrium solutions. These are the end result, which is after maximization, you come here. So what we're looking at into a game theory and creating laws is that we're looking at changing the equilibrium. What can I do to change the equilibrium? And once we create that strategy, it automatically changes human behavior. Said, look, it's not to be here. So let's say that they were looking at this as the only choice, right? They were, but what we normally say, we said, okay, if you lie, but if I find a witness, remember, now witness could be individual or science witness. Science witness means that I use forensic science and find out, then this punishment will become 20-20. The moment I say, look, I have a strategy, even if there is no direct witness, but if I can say for forensic witness, if I create forensic witnesses, if I create witnesses that you cannot see, it's nothing to depend on both of you, and this will become 20-20, then you will think twice. Maybe I should tell the truth. So the moment it becomes 20-20, because of the strategy, bringing a new strategy, investigator brings a witness, right? A witness may not be individual because the crime happened without individual, anybody else. But now I'm creating a scientific witness, fingerprint. So if I can create fingerprinting, that means this 0-0 is impossible now. Because both of you may lie, but I have still as witness. And since you lied, the law said that I'm going to make this 20-20. Do you see the difference now? The game theory? That this
Yes,
game, the game is completely changing. The moment 0 and 0 is impossible, in other words, if I say, look, I'm going to allow some other evidences. So that's why you find out government will say, I will allow what we call technological evidences. People will say, look, let's get a record of the phone call. Why do they bring? They said, look, I know both of you are going to do this because you thought that lying will take you out of the punishment. But if I create a witness and you did not help us, then the punishment will double. So this was 20-10, this becomes 20. That's why laws are actually designed properly. They said, look, so in this particular case, because of the allowance of witness, which in legal literature they call evidence. So if I can create better evidence, and the evidence is not just an individual witnessing, many crime happens, there is no witness. So they said, no, I have an evidence law. And you can talk about evidence law when Farooq talks about presents his case. So there is an evidence. And the question is, if I can create credible evidence, then what you will find out? You will find out that this has all changed in terms of that because of the evidence, this 0-0 is no longer a feasible solution. And under this scenario, people will say, I better tell the truth because I can still reduce my punishment. We realize both of them is probably going to tell the truth, and that will reduce their punishment. That's why they find out, a lot of time you'll find out in courts, people come and say, I'm guilty. So people will say, why do you say I'm guilty? You should have said, I'm not guilty. Answer is, if I say not guilty, but if the witness enters, then the punishment level will change. So that's why pleading guilty, you will find out the plead guilty is a strategy that we have created. So in other words, in order to modify human behavior, we created the third window. Which is third window? Creating a window. This is criminal law I'm talking about. In economics, we'll come out and say, can we create a second window, third window, so that we can modify human behavior also? And these are common. So I'm just giving you the idea of a game theory. We all understood game theory, and this is a perfect example. But what was not perfect, the way I'm just giving, that look, I have created a new strategy. What is a new strategy? You can lie or tell the truth, or I can find another scientific witness, evidence from using forensic research, evidence from all other, using phone call, phone record, GPS record, things like that. If I can create, and if those are regarded as a credible evidence by law, that means you probably will find out there's no point of lying. Right? So understand the logic of a game theory, that objective is not to really play this. Objective is design this, but then find what is the best strategy to change human behavior. Remember, his behavior is going to change now. What he's going to do is, but if this is 5-5, not 20-20, if this is 5-5, he's still going to say, maybe I should do this, because if I tell the truth, it is 10. So you have to ensure that it is bigger than this. Remember, the game has to be designed. So that's what we do. We create, say, okay, let's find out this box first, and then we say what to do. What is their rationality? They can compare these four. If they cannot compare these four, it's a useless exercise. What is their rationality? They understand which one is bigger, which one is smaller. They should understand that 20 years of prison versus 10 years of prison, 20 is bigger than 10. So as long as people are rational, as long as people understand this rationality and remain consistent, we can come up with a better strategy that will change human behavior. And that is one of our targets.
Please subscribe to this channel to receive updates on new videos.